Welcome. It's Rowan Ravenwolf, and it's time for question and answers with me about occult and divination. Good morning. Well, it's almost afternoon, actually. Um, so it's been a while. I kind of went on vacation, and it is literally taking me a couple weeks to get back into the swing of things and get back to Q&A. And I will be posting this every Sunday. I'm going to try to have guests on when I can. I've got a couple people that are like, I'd love to join. So I will have like different guests from the spiritual community and the occult community on Sundays. And eventually, as enough followers come across, I will go live. So that will be even more exciting when I can actually go live. So I hope everybody is doing well. Hope you got to see my daily affirmation and the tarot card for the day, and that things are going well and looking up in your life because we want things to go up and not down, right? It's okay if we have a down day every once in a while. We just don't want them all the time. So let's jump into the questions. One question I had this week, and I'm gonna go with the easy question first, only because the harder question I could probably prattle on for a very long time, and I might bring it back to when I have another guest on. So the first question is, where do I start? And I know I get asked quite a bit where to start. So when you are brand new and you're like, I want to identify as a witch or I want to join the occult, this is the path that's supposed to be for me. Where do you start? There are so many options out there on where you can start, and we don't always know. So, I actually had always been dabbling in witchcraft, but didn't really know it. So, um, and I was always drawn to be a witch. I think it's like just been in my blood. And I think that that's probably a possibility for everybody because we want to be autonomous. We want to have a spiritual path that we can resonate with. And well, for me personally, I don't like the rules in religion. They're very confining. And then you have like this unknown, like, well, if you do this, God won't let you into heaven. What's that about? Right. So, because do you know God? Like, you get into that kind of thing. So, okay, we're on this path. Where do you start? So, I'm just going to kind of go over how I started and very, very briefly. And then I'm going to go into what I wish I had learned because that will probably help you out a lot. And so when I really said, all right, none of these organized religions are working for me. I need something a little bit more spiritual. I need better direction, something that resonates with me because a lot of the things did not fit me personally or fall into something that I appreciated or wanted in my life. So as that happened, I happened to find Scott Cunningham, and I got his herb book and I got his Wicca book. And so I read Wicca, and I do have to say, I'm just going to throw this out there. Scott Cunningham is an amazing writer. And in his short life, because he did pass away at a young age in his 30s, I want to say he was like in his mid to late 30s. His books are just beautifully, beautifully written. So, I left a very big footprint for those of us in the witchcraft community. So I'm very, very thankful that I found his book. However, I did find some books that were AI written, and extremely basic. And I didn't find out until well after I'd read them that they were written by AI and the people didn't exist. So I have learned quite a few things. So as I went down the path, I found that, read some more books. And then I wanted my community. Now, Scott Cunningham does say that you may or may not have a community and it will come to you when it's supposed to. So if you've found me, you've kind of found a community because I do teach classes and I will actually help get you in a direction where you need to go because I know a lot of other teachers out there. And I may be able to teach you some stuff, but there's some stuff you are going to need to learn from other people. Also, there's going to be a lot of different covens and groups, and some of them may resonate with you, and you may be like, I found my beehive, I found my hive, so I'm going to call it a hive because like we kind of gather. These are very spiritual beings. And so I'm going to refer to it as a hive, like a beehive. So you may find your hive very quickly, or you may be one that needs to fly around until you find your hive, but your hive may find you. So that's one thing, is definitely do you, totally 100% do you. And one thing I want you to also, another thing, okay, so one is do you, two is you are your own spiritual guru. Really keep that in mind. You can get into dangerous levels if you find somebody who's tossing out a lot of rules. And so that would be number three. If you happen to come across somebody who has really big rules and are constantly like, you're violating my boundaries, you need to follow these rules, that person's not going to be somebody you want to be with. All right. I'm just going to say that. That's like a red flag. I'm not going to get into that big discussion because that's a totally different discussion. Well, actually, maybe I will because it does go into the second question that I had for the week. And find classes. There's a lot of wonderful, wonderful people in the community out there that teach classes. So even if you don't take a class from me, you can find someone to take a class from. But explore every aspect of the occult and find what resonates with you. So I studied Wicca, and Wicca did not resonate with me. I resonated with traditional witchcraft. So I'm reading tons of books. They're leading me to other books. I happen to run into my first teacher, my first physical teacher. Took classes from her. They're very Wiccan based. I appreciated them. A lot of the stuff, I got stuff from her classes. Some of it I had read in other books. So, but it did help. Okay, I know this book was right. This was right. And from there, I found an online school that taught Wicca. I did get my first dedicant degree there. And then I found another teacher where I became a high priestess through that person's program. And that was 4 years of intense study. And it was Wicca-ish. But in this process, while I was with the last teacher that I got my high priestess through, that I earned it through, I had found traditional witchcraft. Traditional witchcraft completely resonated. Now, in the meantime, I'm taking classes from people, but I am studying on the side, and my eyes opened up. So the biggest thing is, I would say, make sure you are finding books written by people in the community. I'm trying to think of the best political way to say that. So I'm going to give you a couple places. Like, some people are self-published and are legitimate, but there's a lot that are self-published that are completely AI, and AI has been out for a while, or plagiarized works, and you don't want to go with those. So until you know, and until you are able to jump in and you're like, okay, I know that this is legitimate, try to stick with publishers that are legitimate. So I'm going to kind of make a list here. So Wiser Books, Troy Books, Llewellyn is huge, huge, huge for the community. All right. So literally, I went through a phase where if it didn't say Llewellyn, I didn't get it. But again, I had been bit by getting an AI book. So I was trying to be really strict. But Wiser Books is huge, huge, huge. Red Feather is huge in the community. Troy Books. Llewellyn, I said, Hay House. Hay House is very, very big. Louise R. Hay started it. It's not going to be as much witchy as it is metaphysical. So it's also going to depend on what topics are you drawn to in the community. Okay. So you can look at those. So please explore those publishers. They will have lists of all of the authors that are available, what their books are, and that will help you out. So, and eat up as much knowledge as you can. So that's how you're going to grow, and that's where you're going to know where your path is. So when I first started, I kind of told you I started with books, found some teachers, and I've had a lot of teachers now, a lot of very beautiful teachers that I'd love to throw out. And actually, like, oh, I forgot another publisher, Crosscrow Books. Crossed Crow Books. Sorry. Sometimes I say cross crowed and I crowed. So it's crossed Crow Books. So um so I had actually Chris Allen is an amazing teacher. I'm going to throw him out there. I love Michael Harkey's. He's amazing. Devin Hunter, Matt Auren. Um I I'm now telling people if you're like one way to really get involved into the community is to start with Matt Auren's Psychic Witch. That book I think is like really critical when you're just starting out. So you'll start to find your hive and the people that you're drawn to and the people that have the interests that you have that you can learn from. And you'll find the people who've been doing this for 10 years, for 20 years, for 30 years. Like you're going to start to find the people who've been doing this for a long time and who you can grow with. All right. So, what I wish I had known is that there was more out there. So, and I wish I had known how many different things are in the occult because I'd been going for a while when I found out there's Kabbalah, there's ceremonial magic, there's chaos magic, there's Santeria, there's voodoo, there's hoodoo. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much out there. So there are some books. There's, I'm looking on my bookshelf. So the occult book, and it's Greer, Greer, and it's the occult book. This is a really good book that kind of does an introduction and and I'm going to say it's an introduction book because it talks about the occult through history and you're going to see different people in the occult and how they practice. That's going to be a really key book. Deborah Lipp also has a beginning book and it's a very easy read. Like I read it in one sitting. I think it took me like 2 hours to read. It is through Llewellyn, Deborah Lipp, Lipp. And it's like beginning occult or something like that. It's extremely basic, high overview of the occult, but it's going to get you like where your interest is. Once you figure out your interest, you're going to be able to find your people. So, I have my interests. I work with spirits and necromancy. I work with crystals. I work with herbs and botanicals. I work the poison path with that also. I do traditional witchcraft that has a Celtic and a heathenry twist to it because of my ancestral lineage and where I'm drawn to. I hope I'm not missing anything. The necromancy, Clara abilities. I am clairsentient, so I do like to work with my Clara abilities and boost those up. So I work with the spirits again in necromancy. And I am a Reiki master because healing is extremely important for me. And so I've used all of those in corporation to heal. So I think that's like a high overview of me. I mean, there's like, I have a list of stuff that I want to like expand on and learn. And I'm like, am I going to get there? Oh, divination. I do tarot readings and elder Pythagorean readings. I also do oracle readings. They kind of For me, they all go hand in hand, but they may not for you, because some people are only going to do Elder Futhark. Some people are only going to do tarot, and some will only do Oracle. So I wish I had known all the high overview, because like we can look at the occult like a big umbrella, and each spoke of the umbrella can go to like a different thing, like chaos magic, traditional witchcraft, folk magic, conjure magic. Like it can go to each different thing. So explore everything, because as best as you can. You're not going to be able to go in depth into everything, but like I said, the occult book by Greer, that's a good start, because then you're going to be able to go through and go, okay, I just read these 3 pages on Golden Dawn, and Golden Dawn is resonating with me. So then you're going to be able to like kind of know what you want to study, instead of like, where do I start? And so get as much literature as you can and read and find your teachers. So I know that's like really high overview. So very, very, very high overview. I am starting the beginning witchcraft classes in January. So please feel free if you want to come take the classes from me. It's 26 classes taught bi-weekly for a whole year. And that's going to kind of get you, I teach it from a standpoint of here's how Wicca does it, here's how traditional witchcraft does it. And then I'll throw out things like this comes from voodoo, this comes from hoodoo, this comes from conjure magic, this comes from Santeria. So I'm going to throw out little teeny baby pieces that I've gathered along my path. So I'm just going to throw that out there for beginning witchcraft. But that's in a nutshell. I mean, it was a very big question that was asked, and you are going to get different answers from different people. This is a lifelong study. So if you're dedicated to it, you're going to study it your whole life. And for me, it's a daily thing. So it's an everyday love of mine, and it just has brought me so much joy and healing, and I love being a witch. so there, in the nutshell, that's the first question. So the next question, I've gotten this, I kind of like rephrased it several times, because I've gotten it from several people. So there's been like an energy shift in the United States. I'm gonna kind of center there. And a lot of people in the community are upset with this energy shift. And I think you kind of know I'm not going to talk about the whole aspect of it, but this energy shift happened since our first Tuesday, which was like the 5th of November, if I'm remembering the date right. I'm pretty sure it was the 5th of November. Let's see. Yes, it was the 5th, because my son's birthday was the 3rd. So this shift happened, and it has disappointed a lot of people. So I've had a lot of people asking how to cope with this spiritually. And several people have also said, my spiritual beliefs and my beliefs with what has happened don't align with somebody that I admired. We are going to find this. And so, in a nutshell, you've probably already figured it out. It's associated with the United States elections. As a whole, it has been quite upsetting. There has been a pretty big shift. I noticed the first week it was very heavy. It felt like a very heavy cloud was hanging over us. So, how do we deal with this right now? Most important is self-love and self-care. So, make that a priority on your list. So, if it means walking around barefoot, if you can, I know it's starting to get cold out for some people. Some people may have snow already. So that cold is out there. So you may not be able to walk around barefoot in the dirt and ground yourself. You can, however, go hug a tree. So even if it's cold out, you can hug trees. I hug trees all winter long, because they help ground me. Because we are getting into the winter months, I also like to I literally have a pot full of potting soil, so that when I'm not feeling grounded, I can just play with the dirt in my hands. I know it sounds really weird, but I've learned that sometimes I just need dirt. So if that's something that works for you, please do it. Because yeah, when it's really cold out and I can't get to the dirt because the ground's frozen or there's snow, I have my potting soil I play with, or I start planting for spring. So take care of yourself and don't be hurt or feel ashamed about going through the grief cycle. This has been a traumatic experience, and we do have grief to deal with. And so you do need to deal with that grief. I'm also going to say we don't know what's going to happen. We know that there are things that are very scary. A lot of people in the occult community are part of the LGBTQ community. I am safe, just so that you are aware. You are safe if you need to reach out to somebody. I am safe. I support the community. There are people that are ethically diverse, ethically and racially diverse. We're going to go there. Again, you're safe with me. Women, guess what? You're safe with me. I'm a woman. And immigrants, you're safe with me. My husband is an immigrant, so very safe with me. And I know there's a lot of fear, and in my house we've had some fears too. We have a little time to kind of deal with this grief and then take it step by step as things happen. I have decided that you know well, I'm going to kind of go with the history. So we know who's going into office. We know the energy the person brings. We dealt with it for 4 years. Was it a pleasant situation? No. Did we survive? Yes. We kind of have an idea of what's going to happen, right? We kind of know things are going to get tough. Unemployment was at its very, very worst. So we know that we kind of know what to expect. I'm gonna grab some water. Sorry, this is actually my altar water, but I forgot to grab a water bottle. We kind of know what potentially we could expect from this, and I think that's where part of the fear is coming from. I'm not going to encourage fear because that can encourage anxiety and depression. I don't want to encourage that for us. That's not what I am here for today. I'm here to encourage self-love, self-care, and understanding, finding your hive and making sure you feel safe and supported. That is the most important thing right now. So we will be facing something that we're going to be facing, the unknown that we have zero control over, that is going to impact our lives. So we're going to have to take it one step at a time. So back last time this person was in office, we had a lot of fears and unknowns. A lot of people in the occult community had come together and gosh, because it has been 4 years. I can't remember what day it was, but like there was a spell that everybody was repeating, right? That energy is out there. That is working. We need to so my thought process is from a different standpoint, is that we need to work this from a different standpoint. What we're dealing with is a lot of people that are hating, and that hate is feeding this heavy cloud, and it's pulling this energy and this vibration down, and we don't need that. So what can we do? We need to get ourselves balanced. That's first and foremost, and get our family balanced first and foremost. So, and then set your wards. If you don't have wards set at your house, set your wards so that your house is protected and you're not going to pick up that negative energy, right? And let your house send out beautiful vibes. So I'm going to approach this that people who do not agree with my thought process and the people that I'm going to support and have a safe space for, again, as I've said, LGBTQ community, immigrants, women, and I'm trying to think the best way to say this, like racial diversity and ethnic diversity. All right. You guys are all safe with me. So if you need someone to talk to, you're safe. You're safe. I'm going to be a safe person. I support all of you. And actually, I have family members, literally parts of each of those groups, including myself. So you're safe with me. We need to make sure that we are going to be safe. We have seen way too much hate attacking all of these groups. And this is where the question that came up this week was posed. So we need to let people see us as humans, that we bleed red. We have a heart. We breathe air. We are good people. We need to spread that love to the haters. This is our challenge, right? So we can do this one thing at a time. So I want you to kind of think about, we're going to talk about contagions, right? I'm going to say pink eye because I know some people have issues with other things. So pink eye is extremely contagious. And especially with little kids, this is why it breaks out in elementary school so easily, because little kids will sit and rub their eye and then they touch everything. And another little kid will touch where the pink eye was and touch their face. Then guess what? We just have two little kids with pink eye. They go home, they touch everything. Da 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 da, right? It goes through. I can tell you right now, like every time I got a note for pink eye, I had one kid that would get it within 24 hours. And I was like, oh, and then I'm like sanitizing my whole entire house. All right. So something like an illness like pink eye can spread like wildfire. That's what negativity does, right? But also think about positivity. When somebody serves you with a smile and gives you a smile, you want to smile, right? So it's like you get a smile, you turn to like your partner and you smile, they smile. Smiles are contagious too, which is a positive energy. So let's spread that positive energy. So the most important thing right now, I think, is to heal yourself and go through the grieving process. And get yourself to the point where you can hold a smile. And then when somebody is being mean, we shift it. So I'm going to give you guys a story. So I was dropping off actually customer orders at the post office, and I had to stand in line to get something. And the man in front of me was so horrible and mean to the poor postal clerk, like just absolutely horrible to her. So, like she helped somebody, you could tell she was like busy, and like, when you're busy, sometimes you get a little stressed out. So you could kind of tell she's stressed out. And then this guy came up and right out the gate, he was like screaming at her. And there was no reason for it. And then he's complaining about everything. And you could just see like, when somebody treats you like that, even it just drains you. Like it's not cool. So when I got up, I kind of took a breath. She's like, "How can I help you?" And she said it like twice because I'm literally like kind of like I need to help. I need to help her get through her day, right? And I was in a good mood. I wasn't gonna let that guy bust my spirit. And I said to her, I said, "Oh, your hair is so beautiful," because she did have gorgeous hair. And so I said that, and she goes, "Oh, thank you." And she just relaxed, and I just smiled at her, and I'm like, all right, I know you got a line, and I'm gonna try not to take up all your time. And then I told her what I needed, and then she scanned in my orders and got me like whatever it was I needed. And I said to her, I said, please have a good day. You're such a sweet person. And her countenance just completely changed. So we have to take that when we have to deal with that. So like my non-witchy job, which just kind of pays the bills, right? Gives me my basic needs. I was literally yelled at last week by somebody, like, and it was just like I'm all, and I was trying to, and I'm on the phone with the person, and I was trying to calm the person down. I finally said, you know what? Why don't we talk later? Right now is not a good time, because he was screaming and yelling, and I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. And I got off the phone with him. I was not able to change him, and you're not going to be able to change everybody, but I knew that I couldn't deal with that person. It was like, you know what, this person is somebody that it's not worth talking to because they're not a good person, unfortunately, right? We're going to deal with that. So let me give you a couple tips and tricks. So if you're dealing with something like that at work, right? So sometimes you can have these out. I don't even have it on today because I have my wards up. But when I leave my house, I put my black obsidian on. I have my black obsidian for protection, and it keeps that negative energy away from me. So if somebody's yelling and screaming, bounce it back to them. Have fun with it. You want to be that way in your life, be that way in your life, right? But for my work desk, because I will get yelled at occasionally by people, I've got shungite and I have black obsidian. I have it around my computer. And so our phones are now through the computer. And I have my black obsidian. I have one that I wear out when I go out. I have one that I wear while I'm working. And I literally take it off and put it on my selenite and I sage my desk area. And I say, like, I got off the phone with the guy who was yelling at me and I saged my computer. I saged myself. And I was like, well, you tried to calm him down and you couldn't, and the guy was being nasty and trying to personally attack me. And I'm just like, I was like, dude, you know what, just because you're upset and having a bad day doesn't mean you should take it out on me. And a lot of times that's what it is. Okay, but we're dealing with something bigger. We're dealing with the American government potentially changing things for us, and it is scary. The unknown is scary, but the known is not. You can control yourself, you can control how you feel, and we can shift. This is part of witchcraft, is we can shift. So we can take something we don't like and shift it to something that we like. We can take something that's not serving us and shift it to something that will serve us. A lot of times we let go of things that don't serve us, or we let go of people that don't serve us, and we'll do like cord cutting spells. We can't do that. We're stuck with this for 4 years. So what we need to do is we need to shift that energy. So let's take that negative and let's shift it to a positive. And if we all are thinking, okay, first off, we've got to get rid of the hate. That's the most important thing. What's the opposite of hate is love. So, but get yourself self-care, self-love, get that self-love energy, get that love energy. Once you're feeling it for yourself, get it for your roommates, for your partners who you live with. Shift that hate to love, shift it to love. Set your wards and your boundaries. And guess what? As soon as you have seen that shift, now you can shift it with people you're close to. You will run into people that are going to be at a different, and they may still have that energy that you don't want to surround yourself with. It's going to happen. So guess what? Let them go. At some point, when everybody else is shifting to love, they will eventually shift, but it's not going to be your responsibility. It's going to be, they're going to pick up the energy from around them, or they're going to be like, you know what? I guess I really don't want to live like this. If you've ever noticed people who have hate and anger and despair and fear in their hearts are typically people that aren't fun to be around. Or all of a sudden, they're going to help you find everything that's bad in your life, and you're going to find yourself feeling good about yourself to not feeling good about yourself. And that's when we're like, this person isn't serving me. They're not for my greater good. I got to let them go. This thought process isn't serving me. I have to let it go. So I know this is going to be a tough time. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but we need to shift. And that's what the most important thing is. So please take care of yourself, meditate, go get a manicure, go get your hair done, go buy a new outfit, buy a new witchcraft book. I mean, come on. Like, I love when I get them in the mail, and or if I run into a store and grab one. And I think Llewellyn has a sale right now. So if not, it's like next week or something. So keep that in mind. Like, do something for yourself that you love. If it means like putting, like, you know, one of your favorite movies on, put one of your favorite movies on. Like, yeah, it's okay to watch Charmed and Practical Magic over and over and over again, right? We can do that. Watch Lord of the Rings. Let's do something fun. So do something for yourself, and make it a habit to try to do something for yourself every day. So that will help get you through this next little bit. We can change our lives, and our change, we can help shift other people. Again, we may not be able to shift everybody. Sometimes people are stuck, and if they don't want to change and heal themselves, we're not going to be able to do it for them. But if we change and heal ourselves and people see us grow and become better people, that can inspire others. But it's also like a smile. Share the smile and spread that contagion. So, all right. I think that was pretty heavy. So I'm gonna kind of end today's Q&A. If you have any Q&A questions on the occult or divination, please you can email them to me at triplegoddessapothecaryreiki@gmail.com. You can go to my website. All the ways to follow me are in the comments. So please make sure you do follow me there. I do have a great Patreon page. Patreon members get everything early. So like this video, they get at least an hour to 2 hours before anybody else does. They get So I have the daily affirmation and positive thought. I've been actually blogging with it, and you have to be a Patreon member to see that blog information, but you will see the video on TikTok and YouTube, and sometimes I think it shares on my other social media. So, join Patreon for more content, and go see my classes because I have a lot of great classes. Especially if I resonate with you, please go check out my classes. See if there's a class you like. But if you love this video and you want more, please don't forget, depending on where you are, give me a heart or give me a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe or follow, again, depending on what social media platform you're watching this on. And bright blessings, blessed be, and namaste.